All right, y'all, welcome back for the next video on circles. This one is going to focus on circumference. So once again, circumference is the distance around the circle. It's kind of like the word for perimeter, but of a circle, we call it circumference. This is going to be pi. This is the symbol for pi. Times diameter will give you the measurement of the circumference. So the formula, circumference equals pi times diameter, which transforms and gets shortened down to this formula. Circumference equals pi, or 3.14, times whatever the diameter is. And just like all equations, you plug in what you have and you solve for the thing you don't have, or the variable. You want to get the variable by itself by moving everything to the other side of the equal sign. We have 5 examples. Here are 2 of them. I'll do the first one, and then you can pause the video and try the second one on your own. So we're going to find the circumference when we're given the diameter. So here we have the diameter, and we're always going to write our formula, no matter what. We want to find circumference, so C equals pi times diameter, and we're going to plug in what we have. We do not know the circumference, so we bring down the C. We know pi is 3.14, and the diameter we do have, it tells us it is 6. So 3.14 times 6, I can do the math down here. 6 times 4 is 24, 6, 7, 8. Remember, when you multiply with decimals, 6 times 3 is 18. I've got 2 numbers behind the decimal in my equation, so I've got 2 numbers behind the decimal in my answer. I get the circumference is 18.84 meters. And that's it. That is it for circumference. Oh, I did meant to mention one thing. There is another formula for circumference, but I want to stick to this one because it looks too, the other one looks too similar to something else, and I don't want you to get you all confused. So we will be using C equals pi times diameter. Example number 2. If you want to try it on your own, you can. If not, you can follow along. We're trying to find the circumference. So we use the formula, C equals pi times diameter, and we plug in what we have. We do not have the circumference because that's what we're trying to find. Pi is always 3.14, and the diameter is given to us, it is 12. So go ahead and do some math. 3.14 times 12. Do not need to line the decimals up. Add a placeholder for your second number. Add together. And I've got 2 numbers behind the decimal in my equation. So 2 numbers behind the decimal in my answer. And my answer is the circumference is 37.68 meters long. C equals pi d. Plug in what you have. Here we were given the diameter. On the next page, what happens when we're not given the diameter? We're only given the radius. I'm going to keep my formula the same. Circumference equals pi times diameter. So I do not have the circumference, so I leave my variable C. Pi is always 3.14, but this time I don't have a diameter. Instead, here I am given the radius. I'm given 5 for example 1. And what you should have learned in the other video is that diameter is always double the radius. So if the radius is 5, then I know the diameter is going to be 10. So I will plug in 10 for the diameter. So 3.14 times 10 gives me a value of 314 centimeters is my circumference. Very simple. C equals pi d. Another example, you can pause the video now if you'd like. If not, we will continue with finding the circumference of the second circle with our formula, C equals pi times diameter. I do not have the circumference, so it is C. Pi is always 3.14, And the diameter I do not have. I'm given the radius. Well, once again, if the radius is 10, my diameter has to be 20 because the diameter is double the radius. So I will plug in a 20 for the diameter. C equals 3.14 times 20 gives me 62.8 inches. My circumference is 62.8 inches. So let's recap. Our formula, circumference equals pi times diameter. The second screen, the first two examples, how to find circumference when you're given the diameter. Perfect, easy. The next screen, how to find circumference when you're given the radius. One extra step. You have to double the radius to get the diameter. And our last one is really solving some formulas. How to find the diameter or the radius when you're given the circumference. So now things have changed. This time I'm given the circumference and I want to find the radius, or we'll find the diameter first and then the radius. You're given circumference, use the circumference formula. Use the tools you're given. If the only thing you have is circumference, well, we're going to start with a circumference formula. C equals pi times diameter. Well, now I'm trying to find diameter. So I'm going to leave the D for diameter. And I have circumference. My circumference is 47.1. Pi is always 3.14. And I do not have the diameter. So I will put a D for diameter. It works the same if it was an X. And now I've got a one-step equation, which y'all did last unit, you guys did first semester, and I will solve for the diameter. I want to get D by itself, which means I need to move 3.14 to the other side. And by doing so, I have to do the inverse operation because I crossed this equal sign. So 3.14 and diameter, they're multiplying. So I have to do the inverse, which is divide on both sides. These always one out. And I need to do 47.1 divided by 3.14. I cannot have a decimal on the outside of my house, so I need to move it over 2 times. Whatever I do to the outside, I do to the inside. And I fill in that empty spot with a 0, and I'll bring my decimal straight up. 314 doesn't go into 4 or 7 or 47, but it will go into 471 one time. We subtract. I get 157. Bring down the 0. 314 goes into 1570. I'm going to save some time. I know it goes in exactly 5 times. So my answer is the diameter equals 15 inches. That is my diameter. I'm done if it only asks me for the diameter. But what about the radius? What about the radius? Well, diameter is always twice the size of radius. So you can take your diameter, which in this case is 15. We can divide it by 2 and get 7.5. So that means my radius is 7.5 inches because radius is half the diameter. That's all on circumference and how to find it. If you have any questions, you guys can always email us or attend tutorials. I hope your IXL goes well in the practice, and have a nice day.